Start the recording. So see, so this is how the execution is happens. That means just I will give one conclusion here. Whenever I'm executing this one, this is belongs to the parent class. Two properties I'm calling, two properties related method I'm calling. These are belongs to the child property. But here Tendulkar and Mumbai, which are coming from the parent class. Okay. See, so you might be having a doubt. We have defined this one, no? So that's why these other two properties are also coming. Okay. So that is second. That is called what? Here, whatever the surname and location. Okay. So in that case, what you are going to do, just remove those two things. That is, I'm not calling that super keyword, whatever I have, so that I'm not calling. What will happen if you can see? Anyhow, already the super constructor will be having two parameters. So that's why you have to put those two parameters here. Okay. So if you want to put those two parameters here, that two parameters will be passed as a parameter in the constructor. The two parameters will be passed as a parameters in the constructor. That's why I am taking those values again. Okay. So otherwise, if there are no parameters, only default constructor is there. Okay. There are no values, only properties I have assigned. If here also, no need to call the parameters. Okay. Nothing will happen. Okay. Whatever the properties we have taken, so that will be called. So whenever we are calling this, so at the time, if we want to access these properties also, that will be accessed here. Okay. So now I'm undoing all the properties, whatever the actual structure we have given, so that will be given as it is. Okay. Now what will be happen while executing? Okay. What will be happening while executing? Okay. So I'm just minimizing this code. Right. Okay. So this part, you know, one second. Yeah. So this part, ignore about this. Okay. Parent class, we are not using any parent class here also. You can just simply ignore this parent class related instantiation. Okay. So just I have defined one class. That class is having two properties and one method. So this is get data of parent class. Remember that thing. Okay. Get data of parent class. Here we have. Okay. Now what I'm doing. So these two properties, we know that initialization of class properties will be done through the constructor. When it is going to be done? So whenever we are creating an object, like here, whenever we are creating an object, whenever this statement will occur at the time, so with the help of this person, whatever the class name we have provided, with the help of that, the constructor will be called, and whatever the properties we are using, okay, in the class, that I am going to initialize. Initializing is nothing but here only surname string I have declared. That value of that surname I am passing through the parameter, okay, through the argument while I am providing with the constructor. For this purpose, we are using the constructor. Okay. So you might be having one question. So when the constructor will be called, okay. So whenever class instantiation object creation is happening with the new keyword in the TypeScript, while providing this constructor method, class constructor we can say, so at the time, so this constructor will be called. Okay. Even if you are not providing any properties, okay, if you are not providing any properties, I'm just simply removing this one and just adding one log. Okay. Inside constructor of parent. Okay. Just I'm adding one log. Okay. Now I'm not calling any constructor here. By default, I'm just what I'm going to do. So by default, I'm adding one object. When I'm creating this object, automatically the log will be called. I have not given any console. I have not given any log. I have not called any constructor. So only I have given the statement. Okay. So for your reference, I'm telling you this one. Compiled and executed inside constructor parent. So this will be called automatically when this statement is occurs. I'm not going with any calling with any person object. Okay. That's what happening. So in that case, what will happen if I provide these two values also? So that will also considered. Okay. Right. So like this, it will be considered. If you want, You can put that log here. Okay, so in that log you can give that person name and person location if you want. Okay, so then what will happen? I'm not calling explicitly with the help of object directly. I have given one log here. For that log, I am printing these values. Whatever the properties I'm giving, that properties you can put. So either whatever the your assigned values, when we are calling these values, that will be invoked. Okay, I'm just putting this comment. Okay, don't get confused. All I am putting as a comment. Okay, so this is a class. This is an object creation. That's what simply. Okay. See, Tendulkar ma'am, that two properties are printed, right? So because we are passing these properties, initializing these properties, whatever we have here. So that will be assigned to surname and location. That will be assigned to surname and location. So why it's taking this dot location, this dot surname? Because this will applies for current class object. What is the object here? Whatever the person object I'm going to create, for that this is differentiating the, these are the local variables which are belongs to till this part, and these are the class properties which are belongs to here to here. Anywhere you can take that one. Okay, so now if I put that one, so you will also get the same value. Compiled and given. Tendulkar Mumbai is giving. Okay, so like that you are going to get the values. Okay, now so what happened? Okay, just I'm removing all the things. So the second object, first object, whatever I have instantiated. Okay, right now, so what exactly happening here? Okay, so whenever I'm doing the instantiation or inheritance, okay, with the help of extends keyword, whatever the properties and methods, method is nothing but get data. So this will be also available to student method, and also whatever the properties I am taking here, surname, location, get data will be available to the child. Child is what here? Student. But whereas student is also having s name, sid. Okay, s name and sid, and also I have configured the constructor, but I am using, so these s name and s location is also belongs to student class, because I'm inheriting. How we are using the surname and location, which are belongs to student class. That's why surname and location we have taken here. So we are not defining that implicitly. By default, we are calling with the super keyword. So when we call this one, okay, so what will happen? I will tell you. So this process, you know, okay, this process, you know, so this is a parent class calling and parent class constructor, whatever we have. Okay, whenever we do this one, okay, whenever we are creating an object for student class, okay, at this time what will happen? See, flow only important, not a code here. So what exactly the flow we are taking, that flow is important, so to track the execution. Okay, right here. So when I do this one, student object, new student, so this means what? We are creating an object for student class. Okay, so now just with this statement, it is passing 4 parameters to the student class constructor. Okay, here whatever the 4 parameters we have, that will be assigned here. Okay, what will happen is at this time, so it will be calling this one, no? So but what will happen? The class is called extended from the parent. Okay, for that reason we have added super keyword. Okay, before coming to this line, whenever constructor get called, before all this execution will happen, no? So whenever the constructor will happen, first executable statement, okay, you can see the order I'm telling you, student object, it will be created first, it will come to the constructor. Okay, and it will check how many number of parameters are there. So that many number of parameters we have provided, the constructor will be called by default. Okay, and then it will immediately coming to the next line. So that is super keyword. So whenever the super keyword occurs, so at the time super keyword is nothing but calling the parent class constructor. Parent class constructor is having 2 parameters. One is s name and s location. The name is local name, whatever you want to give, you can give. So but here the respect to argument count, okay, 1 2, so immediately it will go to the parent class constructor. with how many number of parameters? 2 parameters, because we have passed 4 in this student name and student location, so which are passed to the parent class constructor. From here to here it will be called. Okay, now what will be happening? So these values, whatever the Tendulkar and Mumbai values are assigned to these variables, these variables again internally constructor will be called. Whenever this called, no, this will execute. Okay, when this will execute, whatever the properties we have defined in the parent class, that will be called and assigned the value. Okay, again, so after calling all the properties and all the methods when we are accessing, so then it will come to the next line. So here parent class properties called, here 2 values are assigned, again these 2 values are assigned. That means whatever the values we have assigned, that will be first assigned the parent class values, second assigned to the child class value. Now we, as usual, so when we are using this one, so this will be called whenever we are calling with an object. Okay, so that means when we create an object for parent class, by default, sorry, when we create an object for child class, by default, parent class object will be created only with the statement. Actually, when the object is called, when the constructor method called, no, so the student class constructor method is called anyhow when we come to this part here. At the time the object is created. But whereas when again the parent class constructor is coming from the super class, calling from the super class, that means at the time calling from here to here is nothing but creation of parent class object. That means only with this line of statement, 2 objects are created. One is parent and another one is child. So one is student, another one is person. One is student and another one is person. So now you can have the accessibility of SA's SID, which are belongs to student class, as well as surname location, which are belongs to student class and parent class as well. Because surname and location are not defined here, so they which are there from the parent class. Okay, that's why these values are taken.